Jeff here, East Texas ADV. And Jeff over there, yeah, there he is. He's gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get this thing taken apart real quick. He's gonna take the seat off. We need to take off both side panels, of course. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get the tools to do that. First thing first, remove the plastics. All right, once you get all that removed, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna take and unhook the negative terminal from the battery. Remove the headlight bezel and headlight and set it to the side. Now my bike's a little different because I don't have a stock airbox. I have the Raid Garage auxiliary fuel tank. So for you, this installation may be a little bit different. But once you get this headlight bezel set to the side, okay, so the next step, you're going to take your ram mount for your double take mirror off. Your mirror to the side. This is going to allow us to set the control module for the cruise control. This one particular is the above bar version. They also make a micro that goes by the grip, and they make a below bar mount that is exact opposite of the one we are installing now. So you're going to put the ram mount ball back in, and this will secure the switch. Now on this one we had a problem once we tightened it down where the mirror hit the switch, so we had to bend the switch towards us a little bit so that the mirror could fully adjust. Next we're just going to go ahead and we're going to route the wires and zip tie them up. Now, I will tell you, this is the most time consuming part of this installation, is routing the wires and zip tying them up and keeping them out of the way. You want to make sure that no wires get pinched at any point in time or that it's even remotely possible. So pay close attention to how you route your wiring. The directions say remove the side plastic covers. It makes it easier to route the wiring. I didn't do that because I don't have a stock airbags, as I've stated before, so I just pull the tank and I just set it to the side. This makes it so much easier from everything from installing something like this to checking your valves. This right here is where you want all your wires to end up. There's the bracket right there. It's secured by these zip ties. Yeah, test fit it. All right, you're going to pull it back out and you're going to attach a single-sided foam tape to the computer mounting bracket, like so. This is in the same package as the bracket, as are the zip ties. Make sure you zip tie it securely by making sure the zip ties are as tight as you can get them. What I'm going to do is later on down the road, I'm going to go ahead and use metal zip ties just for that added peace of mind. But for now, the supplied zip ties are adequate enough, as they are not cheap. They are actually of decent quality. So don't be afraid to use them. Next, you're going to locate the TPS plug, which is right here on the frame rail. You're going to go ahead and unplug it. We are going to be installing the throttle grip position sensor, also known as a TPS, which is number 9 in your list of parts. Connect the two 6-way plugs to the cruise control harness to the bike's TPS plugs, then tuck the connectors back inside the frame rail. Again, being careful to route the wire out of the way of anything that could cause it harm. Next, locate the bike's diagnostics connector plug. It is located behind the battery near the negative terminal. Pull it out and remove the cap. This is going to be where the CAN bus harness is connected to your stock wiring harness. Make sure all pins line up. Push firmly until they snap together, ensuring a good connection. And the cap they supply is not the right part, so you'll have to use the original one, which is no big deal. It's just a small oversight. Next, we're going to remove the battery hold down bracket. It just makes it a little easier to route the wiring for the CAN bus part of this harness. Remove the two nuts, sliding the bracket towards the air cleaner, and this will pop out and expose the battery. Now on this kit, I opted for the extra dongle port. That's why you reuse the cover for your stock wiring harness. This will allow me to plug in fuel dongle, ABS dongle, etc. With the other plug-in that you have connected to your wiring harness, you're going to route that basically around the airbox, through the side of the frame, ending up where the cruise control computer will be located. Now it's time to start putting it all together. So you're going to take cruise control main wiring harness, okay, and you're going to plug all these loose ends into it. And to do that, on this harness, there are three white tabs that you're going to want to push in with a screwdriver or other suitable tool. Once you push these buttons in, be very careful not to pull the wires out. You're going to go ahead and throw the wires in the correct color into the correct hole. See the instructions, as this is a pretty entailed process. This is where labeling all your wires that you've been installing over the past hour or so come in handy, and the color directions come in extremely handy. See, here's your diagram for all the pins. Now, don't laugh, because the paper clip will actually come in handy for pushing these in. Make sure these go in all the way. It's easier to use the paper clip to make sure they plug securely into the wiring harness. Again, be very, very careful not to pull the wires out, because as long as those tabs are pushed into the neutral position, any of those wires can pull out of the wiring harness. But there's your wiring diagram. Same thing on there with those little barbed ends. Now you're going to want to make sure that they're completely plugged in. Like I said before, you don't want them to be almost in. They need to be 100% seated into the plug in order to ensure that you get a great connection. Now here's how I give you an example of using the paper clip to make sure the pin and the wire go in completely. Watch the wire and you will actually see it move and lock into place. Well, you'll feel it lock into place. But you're pushing on the metal part of the tab inside the plug that's on the wire. See, it goes, there it goes, boom, and now that is fully seated and that is ready to go. This is the most critical part of this install. Next, be sure to push the two white tabs in that you pushed earlier to release the wires. You want to push those back in the opposite direction to secure them, and check them to make sure they're properly secured. Next is the tach sensor. That comes off the main wiring harness that you just messed with, and it is part number 8. You're going to thread the yellow wires across the frame to where the tach pickup is located on the throttle side of the motorcycle. Again, taking caution to route the wire to where it can't be damaged. Disconnect the white collar on the ignition coil. The purple yellow wire must be backed out of the plug. To do this, you will pull this little yellow tab out of this white plug with a flat bladed screwdriver or other acceptable tool, as shown. Okay, when you're pulling these wires out, do not pull too hard, as they are locked into place. Again, get your trusty paper clip and you will push the wire out fairly easily of the plug. Next, you're going to insert the terminal on the cruise control yellow wire into the bike's ignition coil connector that you just removed. The next thing you're going to want to do is replace the yellow cap into the white plug to secure the wires. Make sure that the plugs are securely in the plug and seated correctly. Next, you're going to need to locate the black one-way connector in the parts bag so you can attach this connector on the plug that you had just taken out of the white connector to the coil. This will complete this part of the splicing of the factory wiring harness with the cruise control harness. Push firmly, hear the click, make sure it's securely attached. You're going to want to wind it up as directed by the instructions and use 2 zip ties to secure the wire, as there will be excess wire that you will need to keep out of the way. Trim your zip ties and reattach the coil connector to the coil. The last branch of the harness, as they call these, that plug into the main wiring harness, is the power brake sensor connection, which also comes off the main wiring harness for the cruise control, which is part number 8. This is why you have to remove the headlight bezel. Now carefully, again, route this from the main wiring harness on the cruise control up through your frame rail up to a point where it comes behind your headlight. You're going to also do is you're going to unplug the brake sensor connection. This uses an electric signal instead of the standard pressure switch for the tail light brake light operation. This is how the cruise control gets canceled out. Now on what I did was I went ahead and removed the small plate, as it made it a lot easier to put pressure on the back side of the plug and plug the cruise control part of it back in. Reattach the 2 screws holding the plate to the front of the bike. Next, you're going to attach these last 2 plugs for your brake lights and rear. Use special caution to make sure all wires are tucked in securely and out of the way from the headlight. Next is the control switch connection. Connect the plug on the control switch wire to the matching plug on the cruise control harness. We are getting close. The next part is the cruise control computer. Finally, we get to put in the cruise control module. It's filled with silicone for vibration and moisture protection. You're going to go ahead and put the Velcro on the back side of the computer, attach it to the mounting bracket that we attached earlier, pull it off. Hopefully the Velcro stays on. Take the wiring harness for the cruise control and plug it firmly into the cruise control brain, attaching it back to the Velcro and the mounting plate. Be sure that you zip tie any loose connections or wires, keeping them out of the way, as this is the last step in your installation of the McCruise cruise control. At this point of the installation, you're going to go ahead and, as said before, secure any loose ends, any wires that you think could become caught on anything or get in the way of anything. At this point, you would be reinstalling the plastic coolant reservoir covers. In my case, it's the rad tank, because I removed my tank for easier access, followed by your battery cover bracket and computer, as well as reattaching your ground cable to your battery. Next, we'll be reinstalling the headlight bezel and headlight. This is where you're going to find out if you tuck the wires away good enough for the bezel to properly fit. In this video, we did not go over how to program the cruise control to interact with your ECU, as that would have added about 10 minutes to the video. See the directions for a more entailed installation practice on that part of the install. Well, we just got back from shooting, but before that, we went and took the 690s for a ride. Guess what? It works. This thing was so easy and so pretty much straightforward that I can't believe I was nervous about it. There are a few little hiccups as far as the mirrors don't want to really fit behind the above bar mount, but you bend it forward a little bit and it's fine. Works fantastic. Man, I got to give a shout out to Jeff for helping me out. The guys at McCruise, they have been nothing but helpful. They actually called me last week saying that there may be a problem with the speed sensor pickup on the 19 and 20, and that if I could email them and talk to them. So everything worked out. We do have a cruise. I think we have the next customer probably right there. I'm sure 690 Joe, he's going to be after to get one too, considering I'm the damn guinea pig. But anyways, I won't waste any of your time. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for future notifications. Don't tell my wife, but the SurePacks trailer is next. She said no, but I make the rules. Just kidding, honey. All right, guys, we're out of here. We're going to go ride the track. Thanks a lot.